Hi class. In this module, we're going to focus on retellings of Pride and Prejudice. I hope you're looking forward to reading the book you chose at the end of the previous module. I think you'll find it very interesting to see the story of Pride and Prejudice envisioned in a new way. Let's start with the difference between an adaptation and a retelling. You're probably very familiar with adaptations, which is when a book is transformed into a movie, television show, play, or even a YouTube series. In the HBO series Game of Thrones, characters and settings remain fairly close to the source in early seasons. If you were a book reader, then you were probably both anticipating and dreading the famous Red Wedding scene. Ultimately, the series writers were forced to finish their own version of the story on screen because author George R. Martin hadn't completed his books. Another example is the movie Clueless, which is actually an adaptation of another Jane Austen book, Emma. The original title was set in the early 1800s in a quaint town in England. The movie adaptation, for those of you that haven't seen it, is updated to the lives of high schoolers in Beverly Hills, California in 1995. Cher's wild wardrobe and somewhat materialistic personality may be hard to match with Emma's more proper English demeanor. However, Cher's love for her father, matchmaking of her teachers, and makeover of a classmate perfectly mirror events in the book. So, an adaptation involves bringing a book to life on screen or recreating the story in a whole new way. A retelling is very similar. It's when another author reimagines a classic story into a book of their own. This can mean setting the story in a different time or a different place, shifting the perspective to a different character, or looking at events that may have happened before or after the original story. So the basic difference is that adaptations involve a shift in genre, while retellings do not. Here's an example that has both been retold and adapted. The Wonderful Wizard of Oz by L. Frank Baum was published in 1900. This book, in case you're unfamiliar, followed Dorothy on a magical journey in the land of Oz and was the first of 14 books written by Baum. His book was adapted into the classic movie The Wizard of Oz in 1939, starring Judy Garland. One of the major changes in the movie version, besides aging up Dorothy to a teenager, was making Dorothy's travel to Oz just a dream. In 1995, Gregory Maguire published Wicked, The Life and Times of the Wicked Witch of the West, a retelling of Baum's book. Maguire's book is a radical reimagining of the story focused on Elphaba, the witch, and why she was deemed wicked. And then in 2003, Maguire's book was adapted into the very popular musical Wicked. The theater version is much brighter than Maguire's book and focuses on the relationship between Glinda the Good and Elphaba the Wicked Witch. The musical's theme is actually similar to that of Pride and Prejudice, in that you shouldn't judge people solely by appearances. So that's the difference between an adaptation and a retelling. Although there are a number of great screen adaptations of Pride and Prejudice, which I've included in a link in the resources section, we're going to stick with literary retellings this time. Please read through the entire module and review all the assignments. Make sure to watch any additional videos and read the linked documents for details about how to complete each assignment. If you have any questions at any time, feel free to email me or use the discussion boards. Happy reading!